name is Nicole. I'm a producer for the Remembering Them podcast. The podcast is a platform for people to share stories and memories of their loved ones who have passed away. The podcast was created in memory of Dad, Bob Cecil. May he rest in peace. Your host, Mark, Ryan, and Luke acknowledge the rich history and importance of storytelling within the indigenous culture.
My name is Jorgi Skeen, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet here today. Today we're meeting in Meanjin, and those traditional owners are the Yagara and Turrbal people. And I'd also like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and acknowledge my people, the Gubbi Gubbi people, and extend that acknowledgement to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening in today.
Hi, it's Mark here. This episode contains discussions about suicide and mental health. If this topic is distressing for you, please consider skipping this episode or listening with someone you trust. Support is available. In Australia, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14 at any time. If you're listening from another country, please reach out to a local crisis service or mental health support line in your area. Hello, Luke. Welcome back to the podcast.
Morning, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you, and only you, because Ryan is away today. And mate, today is we've got the reason why he may or may not be away. As always, our listeners can figure out whether this is true or not. What is true is Ryan is a big bird guy, as you would know. And today, time of recording, Wednesday, the 29th of October here in Australia. Today is International. Have you heard of the RSPB? This is in the UK. What do you reckon that stands for? Remembering I just said Ryan's a big bird guy.
RSPB.
Yeah.
Something about peanut butter and birds, I'd say.
Close. It's the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. And today is the RSPB Feed the Birds Day in the UK. And it's a day to encourage feeding and appreciating wild birds. So Ryan is actually, being the big bird guy he is, he's flown over the UK to celebrate and participate in the RSPB Feed the Birds Day.
Wow, good on him.
Yeah, that's how much he loves birds.
I didn't realize this. I do know he has habitual lifestyle choices, but I didn't know they were focused so much on birds. But now that you mention that, it does make sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
He is an avian kind of guy.
He is. We learn more and more about Ryan every day. So enjoy the RSPB Day, Feed the Birds Day, Ryan, and we hope to have you back soon for the next podcast recording. Luke, on to the clues for you to guess where our guest is from today. I don't believe we have had a guest from this city. So we're after a city. As always, play along at home, see if you can guess it before Luke and Ryan when he listens to this back. Clue number one for you. This city is the birthplace of the modern steam engine. This person revolutionized the steam engine, the person that was born here, and educated in this particular city, and had a breakthrough that helped spark the Industrial Revolution worldwide. City that is the birthplace of the modern steam engine.
Steam engine. This is right up Dad's alley.
It is. Our dad
loved his trains.
He did. So he probably would know this.
Yeah, I reckon he would know it. We got to be in the UK, right? Pretty sure they were like the pioneers, shall we say? Dad's shaking his head at me right now. An idiot. Are we like? I don't know any cities in Scotland. Are we up in Scotland? I don't even know the capital.
You don't know a city? Pick a city.
No, Belfast. I don't even know.
We're not in
I'm
Belfast.
so far behind in UK.
I'll give you the next clue. This podcast is a learning for you as well, I guess, international learning. When we so the second clue for you, this city is the home to the world's first international football match, or soccer for us over here. The first official international football/soccer match was held here in 1872, laying the groundwork for global sport we know today.
1872. I just looked it up. I'm still in Scotland. It's Edinburgh. I don't know if did you know that? Be honest.
What? The
That's
first.
the
What?
capital of Scotland.
Oh no, Edinburgh. Yeah, I knew that was the capital, but it's not
Yeah.
not Edinburgh.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fine.
Third and final clue. This city is the home to the one of the oldest subways in the world. It opened in 1896 and it's the third oldest underground metro system in the world after London and Budapest. So you can wipe those two cities out and it still runs a single circular loop.
I just have no idea about cities in the UK. Like I have no idea. Like I know the names, but I have no idea where they are
Yeah.
geographically. So
Yeah. I'm not
it's
too
just
familiar with the UK either.
I'm gonna go third guess Edinburgh.
No. It hasn't changed. It's definitely still not Edinburgh. You are right. We are in Scotland. We're in Glasgow in Scotland.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
the Scottish engineer that was born in Glasgow is engineer James Watt. The international football match was between Scotland and England, of course. And Glasgow Subway is the third oldest underground metro system. So there you
There you
go.
go.
Dad
Wow.
would have ate that up, I'm sure. He
I
would have
wouldn't
got
need the next
first
two.
No, no, he
Yeah.
would have just smashed it out. So hopefully you got that at home. Our guest today is from Scotland and is in Glasgow specifically. She's a dentist by trade and currently a stay-at-home mum and an aspiring author, editing her first book. She lives with her three children, Henry, 8, Matthew 6, and Sophia, who is 3. So a busy, busy mum. They have a little hamster called Gary. Her hobbies are writing, weightlifting, Pilates, and yoga. Like Ryan as well. She loves spirituality and Reiki too. Two of her children are autistic, which is something that she once terrified her raising them as a solo mum, but they've taught her so much about patience and seeing the world through different eyes. So our guest today from Glasgow in Scotland is Lisa Marshall. So welcome to the Remembering Them podcast, Lisa. Thank you very much for joining us all the way over from Glasgow in Scotland.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great having you on. Thank you for working out the time with us. I know it's very, or for some people, it's very late over there, but I can sympathise with you as a parent, late in the evening, so you're a bit of a night owl. So thank you so much for jumping on late and having a chat to us.
No, it's no problem at all. It finally comes in handy having terrible sleeping habits. I'm up all
Yeah,
night. My cousin, she immigrated to Australia last year. She lives in Perth, so if I'm speaking to her, it's like this time or midnight, and she's getting up. The time difference is just so big over there. It's crazy.
it's huge. Yeah, it is. So morning over here and you're out to go to bed. So thank you for jumping on and talking to us. If you'd like to start, Lisa, let's jump straight in. We won't keep you up too late. If you'd like to start by telling us who we're talking about today, obviously your relationship to them and what happened to that special person.
So we're talking today about my late husband, Alan. Alan was my husband. We've been together for 11 years until he died in 2023. So he's been gone for 2.5 years and he took his own life, sadly.
And you have the young kid, the 3 young kids as well. With Alan, we spoke about that in the intro as well. So I can only imagine that it's been quite a short period of time as well. How has that short time frame been as a whole? I guess you as a wife, as a widow, you as a mum, the whole situation.
Yeah, the 2.5 years, it's crazy because it feels like it's just flown in. It's went in so quickly. And sometimes it feels as well that like you've lost like that time of your life as well. You feel like you've just blinked and it's all kind of gone. But like even though time is moving past it's like quickly, it's the kids getting older and celebrating their birthdays and their milestones. Like that kind of reminds you about how much time is passing more than anything, like how quickly they're growing. And when Alan passed away, my daughter, she was only 10 months, she was a baby. And then my 2 boys, Henry and Matthew, they were 4 and 6. So now the 3 of them, they're age 3, 7, and 8. And it's just, yeah, they're getting older. And it's like my husband, he's never going to see my wee girl celebrating her birthday, for example. So yeah, it's been really, really difficult, but I feel like hopefully we're kind of finding our feet a little bit now. I just really like poured myself into being a mum the kind of first like well, up until till now as well, your kids will come first and that's it. And that gave me like a really, really great focus, like just focusing on my kids and making sure they were okay. But I think most mums do this anyway. They always put themselves last. They always do. They don't look after themselves. And I just like poured everything I could into them and just made sure they were okay. Like they were at like school the next day, their clubs, like their wee lives and routine, play dates, parties, that all just continued very much as normal. I was actually on maternity leave, about to go back to work. I haven't been able to return to work just because I've been looking after my 3 children. And then when my husband died as well, my eldest son, he is waiting on an autism diagnosis, and that was all kind of brought about by the school after he passed away. So he died actually not knowing that his son was actually autistic. And then also my youngest daughter, she has got very, very delayed speech. So she's getting a lot of speech and language and again, waiting autism. So it's quite a lot. You're kind of like, you're a solo mum, but you're also kind of special needs ESN mum as well. So it's a lot, it's definitely a lot. But the kids, they've kept me going. They've like the darkest days, they bring so much light to it. And even just kind of sitting back and watching them just play happily together, it's amazing. And I'm so lucky to have them. Having the 3 kids, it means that there's not been much time really to think and almost come up for air almost, and not much time to grieve either. So I think the thing with a suicide loss and any death that's like sudden, traumatic, it really doesn't, you don't process it right away. Like the first year, I just felt so numb. I felt like it hadn't even happened, and I never saw him again once he left to go to work. So you kind of just felt that you could kind of bump into him at any moment as well. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind the past 2.5 years it has, but I'm trying to kind of now focus on myself and, like exercise, a big part of healing, counselling's been so important as well. And because the thing is, like, I need to be well to look after them, then you need to fill your cup up as a parent to look after your kids. So yeah.
I was going to ask you, is that played a big part, or how, you probably touched on it there around the counselling, how have you made sure that you're, looking after yourself to then be able to look after the kids in this whirlwind, journey after, your husband passed away?
This is a paid partnership with BetterHelp. Hey Luke and Ryan, life gets heavy sometimes, especially when grief hits. For me, that weight often shows up as anxiety.
Yeah, it's not always one big thing. Sometimes it's just life piling up, work, relationships, trying to hold it all together. Suddenly, I'm anxious and don't know why.
Totally. I used to think anxiety meant panic attacks, but for me, it's more like overthinking every choice or feeling like I'm never doing enough.
And it can even hit on good days. Out of nowhere, I'm spiraling over things that haven't even happened yet.
It's easy to feel alone in it, but you're not.
That's why we're talking about our paid partner, BetterHelp.
BetterHelp connects you with credentialed therapists who can help manage anxiety and more.
Most people go to BetterHelp for anxiety, and 69% feel better after just 6 weeks.
Getting started is simple. Fill out a quick questionnaire and get matched with a therapist. If it's not a fit, you can switch at any time.
Their support team is super responsive, and with over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 Trustpilot rating, it's a platform you can count on.
So let BetterHelp help manage your anxiety so it doesn't manage you.
Click the link below or go to betterhelp.com/rememberingthem for 10% off your first month.
Yeah, counselling's been so important, and I'm not sure what the guidelines are in Australia, but in Scotland, they don't actually offer bereavement counselling until you're 6 months post-loss, and that goes for any death. And they have actually done research into that, and it's based on the Dunblane massacre that happened in Scotland years ago. They've studied families that were affected by that, and they said they didn't think that counselling before 6 months was really beneficial for people that had a loss. Because I was like, I can't believe you need to wait 6 months. And until then, the doctors, they just offer you medication. Like, I remember I phoned up and said that my husband's died, he took his own life. And they basically just said, right, here's sleeping tablets, like sedatives, antidepressants, and anxiety. And like, I was really scared about taking anything. I was like, being the only adult in the house, you didn't really want to like not be able to wake up during the night if you're in sleeping tablets, heavily medicated. And as well, like, I've never taken in my life, and I think the thing is you have to take what you need to take to get through something like that. So I'm not anti-drugs, but I just didn't want to go down that route. And of course, there's been times where I thought, maybe I should go on something, but I'd rather try anything I can to maybe just avoid that and like more like holistic. So exercise is a huge thing, but counselling as well. And I'd never tried counselling up until that point. So at the 6 month mark, it was actually a suicide charity, and they also help families that are affected by murders called Petal. they offered me counselling through their services, and it was free as well, which was amazing. But I felt 6 months, it was still very soon. And when I done the counselling, I would honestly fall asleep because my brain just did not want to deal with it. My brain didn't want to talk about it, think about it. So I didn't really think it was the right point then. And I think I tried it again about maybe a year into it. And then it was a recommendation. My friend, she went to the same girl. And yeah, Linda, she's been really, really amazing. And I've kind of seen her regularly for the past year and a half. And I think in the NHS, that's our health service here, they offer you 6 sessions and that's it. Whereas having a private counsellor, you can kind of see her the rest of your life, and because there's going to be like more events, more things that she can kind of help you through as well. But it's so important to look after your own mental health, because it really, really takes a dip after going through a suicide loss and any death as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. If we can ask Lisa what happened, I guess, on that the moment that you found out, and then also we talk about this in the past with other guests, how to then somewhat explain it to the children, I guess, because the boys were maybe old enough to somewhat comprehend. Obviously, your little girl definitely not. But how did that process? What did that look like?
I think the thing with a suicide and a sudden death is that you're not prepared for any questions, answers. There's no script. Whereas I think if somebody has a diagnosis, you can kind of prepare a little bit. We're going to talk them down, get these books, get advice beforehand. But for this, it was really just the police came to the door, and then as I was getting the children to bed, and at that moment there, my eldest son was still awake, so he was kind of wondering like why the police there, like what's going on. And he was like, he's quite attached to me, so I was like downstairs with the police, and my mum was in the house too. He was trying to come down the stairs, and it was horrendous because one officer was trying to help him back up, and like I was downstairs with another officer, and you try to keep it together to like in front of the kids. It was horrendous. And that night when I went to bed, like I just said like, oh, Daddy's been in an accident. Like I couldn't actually tell them that like he had died because I didn't know how. That was it. I actually sought help from the church. All my kids are christened, and Alan died in March, and the Reverend Louise, she christened her daughter in Christmas Day. So literally like 2 or 3 months after that, he was dead. So I asked her, I told her what happened, and I was like, I don't know how to tell the kids here. And it was terrible because like I phoned the school and I said what had happened that morning, and the kids went into school and nursery not knowing their dad was dead, and it was in the same town. So I mean, I was just so nervous that they would maybe clock something talking about it, because it caused this big, huge commotion, obviously. So it was really, really difficult. And then the Reverend gave really, really good advice. She was just very much like, you need to tell them very bluntly almost and make it like very permanent. But she was very much like, they're not going to process this for like months and months and months because of their ages. My son, who's actually on the spectrum, I think he kind of processed it right away because he is so literal. So if you tell him someone is dead, he will believe it. And it wasn't, I just thought like that, to tell them that next day that, they'd be hysterical, I'd be having to comfort them. But children are very like flippant. They just kind of like went back to playing, but I don't think they fully kind of processed it. My younger son Matthew, he didn't get it at all, and he was just playing, looking confused. And then that night, putting him to bed, he was like, "When's Daddy coming home? Is he at work still?" And I was just like, "Oh my God!" And this went on for months and months and months, and then it stopped for a while. And about 4 months later, he asked again, like, "Is Daddy at work?" And I was just like, "Oh my goodness!" But he was only 4. And when you think about like what I can remember when I was 4, not very much. So like I think he really, really struggled. I didn't tell them that it was a suicide at that point as well. I just felt that like it was hard enough understanding that their dad had died, let alone the suicide loss. But the guidelines here, like through charities, they say that kids should be told as soon as they possibly are able to understand, and right away if possible. So that came about 2 years later. It wasn't planned. It was after like a child kind of little like healing group, like in the kids' school. I kind of feel in the class they're the only one that's kind of like lost their dad. So meeting other children that have lost a parent or a sibling, something as well, they feel maybe just not alone. And so I went to a group, and then that night, like I just kind of openly told them. And like when I did, like it was hard. My eldest son was he was obviously quite angry and upset, and was like, why they do that? Like I didn't know that, and I knew then he understood the concept of a suicide as well. But then I also felt like a huge weight lifted as well, that I don't need to worry about someone telling them or them just clicking one day this is what happened. Because like long like I told the kids like he had an accident on the train, but then a few months after that, like my eldest son just asked me, he was like, was he hit by a train? Because he must have been thinking how else could he have died at a train station. So like I think that one day he would have just grasped the concept if I hadn't have told them. And now like I go to a suicide bereavement group, an amazing one near me called a place called Here. And there's actually adults that go there that were children at the time. They lost a parent and they said that they wish they had been told right away. They have a lot of trust issues by not being told right away. And some people, they read the death certificate, some people they found the note. So it's like, I think it is really important that they are told, as difficult it is, because it's almost like they're grieving again.
That's really, really good advice, and we have, heard that before in a similar situation with it was Reshma talking about the advice that she was given when explaining that to her children, that you won't have that opportunity to ring that bell again. So just be blunt and honest, and even thinking about other situations, not necessarily suicide, where parents have had to explain to children. I think the explanation has been, they're just amazing, what they're able to comprehend. So everything that you said there absolutely makes sense. Alan, as a husband, as a person, prior to all of this, how would you describe him to a stranger?
He was honestly the life of the party, and I think that's what everybody would describe somebody that's taken their own life as. They would light up a dark room. There was just so much life and laughter. He was always having a carry on, always joking, and you could be having the worst day ever, and he would just like cheer you up. He would always like wind people up, like funnily though, and like how you used to do like prank phone calls. He would still do things like that. Like my mum, like that. He would like one time he phoned my mum and like pretended to be the council, saying that her dog was spilling, and she went absolutely mental. It was like, how do you not know it's him? Honestly, he would just play jokes on people like all the time, and he was definitely like the fun parent. He was always like playing with the kids. He loved football. He loved Glasgow Rangers, the team over here, and he was always just like just playing football with the boys, definitely. And he had so many friends. Like I've never known somebody that had so many friends, and he would actually like phone them and speak to them on the phone, because I don't really phone people now. I just like, I'll send them voice notes, I'll text them, but he would actually pick up the phone and like check in on them and things like that. And so that's the thing, like he had so many friends, and if he had just told a single person that he was struggling, they would have helped them, they would have, and that's that. He was just so much fun. He definitely, and he's such a big personality, like just nobody kind of like him.
Pranks on you? Were you a target as well, Lisa, or I don't know?
Oh,
Was it?
yeah, I was a target, definitely. But I think that was a big part of our relationship, like our sense of humour and just like having a laugh together and a carry on, definitely.
What's one of the better ones or memorable ones that you have, whether it be on you or someone else that Alan pulled?
A joke. Honestly, and do you know the thing is, like, see, when Alan died, like, it almost felt that like my memory was wiped of every kind of nice quality. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but I really struggled to remember like the good parts of him, the qualities and the funny parts and things like that. Try to think of the funny things that he done. He was like, I remember he went a night out one time, and it was a local pub. It was in Kirkintilloch, the Rangers Supporters Club. And I was pregnant with our first son Henry, and I had like an antenatal appointment the next day, like one of those kind of classes you go to before you give birth, like because we're first time parents, I didn't have a clue. And I was just like, we need to go to this, know what we're doing and things like that. And he's like, I'll be fine, I won't get too drunk. So he went to the supporters club, and I couldn't get hold of him, and it was getting later and later and later. So I phoned the actual club, and I said to the girl, I was like, look, I'm looking at my husband, we've got an antenatal appointment tomorrow, like I really need him, like can you try and get him for me? And I told them his name and things like that. So I didn't realise it was like a karaoke night, like at the place. So she went up on the stage and was like, is there an Alan Marshall here? And then like all his friends were cheering, thinking that he was going to go up to sing, and he was getting ready to go and sing a song. And she was like, your wife's on the phone, you need to get home.
Geez, I don't know what would have been more embarrassing, having to actually sing, or that your wife had called to.
I know that's how bad it was. I was like, no, I need to get home. Honestly, definitely. He always lost his phone, and he always lost his bank card. He had like the record for losing his bank card so many times. Honestly, like I have like contacts on my phone, but he had an actual bank card, but he lost it on the time. And ironically, like when he died, he actually had it on him, and that's what his friend said. Like, I can't believe he actually had his bank card on him when he died, because he's lost it so many times he just never had it. Like he was just losing everything all the time, like so clumsy.
The life of the party,
Yeah.
prankster. Do you have a memory or one that stands out, a story, whether it be, you and Alan, because you were 11, together for 11 years, or with him and the kids, or as a family? Do you have a couple of stories or favorite memories of Alan?
Memories of Alan. I think like the best memories I've had of him is when he became a dad. I think that's when you kind of seen a different side to him, and especially like our first son, finding out we're having a little boy as well, because he was football mad. He was like, "Oh, I hope I've got a boy coming." And he was, and yeah, like he was amazing. He was, and just kind of like spend time with the boys, playing football with them, like taking them to like football matches and things like that as well. Like the boys would always kind of be on his shoulders and things like that as well when they were little. So yeah, that's like that, and it's quite sad because in my garden there was honestly about 20 footballs, and there wasn't a ball kicked there after he died for like a long, long time. Like that kind of stopped and things as well. But they are kind one of them plays football, one doesn't, but one plays. One other one took up tennis. But it would probably just be memories with the kids. And then when he had a drink as well, he would always love a wee dance. So there been a few nights. Do you remember the movie? Is it Forrest Gump?
Yep.
He dressed up with somebody from it, and it's terrible because I've watched that film, but like I can't remember what the character's called. But he dressed up and he had like the Nike Cortex trainers and the suit. I can't remember what the character was called in it. Was it maybe it was Forrest Gump? Maybe that was.
I think it was Forrest, yeah, with the sneakers and the suit, yeah,
Pretty sure he
absolutely.
had the red cap as well.
Yes, yeah.
So it was his friend's 40th, and he dressed up as that, and like he loved dressing up. He loved dressing up so much, so he had like a big Lotso beer in the house. He always got out, but it was a collective effort. So he made me go as the girl with the long blonde hair. Was that the partner or
Oh,
something?
Jenny, yeah,
Yeah,
Jen
I
Ali.
had
Yeah.
yeah, I was Jenny. I had the long blonde wig on, and I think one of his friends, or it might have been his, I can't remember. They went in a wheelchair. Another character.
Lieutenant Dan. We're just this is going to be talking about Forrest Gump the movie in memory of Alan.
Yeah, he bought a wheelchair to actually take this.
Oh
So the
my
friend
goodness.
that is honestly like we definitely looked the part at it, but he took things like that very seriously. But and then I have a video of him just like dancing, like loving life at the end of it. And it's funny because that was like right before lockdown, maybe a few weeks before everything shut down, and you wouldn't be able to have parties like that for like a long, long time. Like he was just so full of life, and he was just always around his friends as well. Yeah.
What a fantastic memory. I can actually picture that, him dressed up and dancing around. Was there something that Alan used to say, Lisa, whether that be a quote or a saying, either to yourself or the kids that you remember him by?
So when he spoke on the phone to like anybody and his friends, and he'd be on the phone to his pals, like 5 or 6 friends a night sometimes, he would always finish the call with, "I'll let you go now, like I better let you go, I'll let you go," kind of thing. I'm just like that. So honestly, I remember him kind of saying that, and that's how we would like always end the phone call. And I think when we got married, his best man said that as well, like in the words of Alan, "I'll let you go." So yeah, definitely.
That's cute. Can I ask, Lisa,
Yeah.
how did you guys meet? Can you take us back to the first date?
Yeah, so oh God, you go back to 2011.
All the
Such
way
a
back.
long time ago. So I was 19, Alan was 26, and then I went on a night out I was at university at the time, I was studying dentistry, and then he actually was a dentist at the time, so he was older than me, and he was in like a work night out, like his kind of group that he pals from university, and we're all in a kind of nightclub in Glasgow, and I just met him there, and he was like so drunk, he was like falling about. He was, but I thought he was really, really nice. We got talking, and then it's so funny because like I added him on Facebook after, but he didn't accept me, and I was like, oh my God, this is like so embarrassing. Like obviously I was like a bold 19-year-old, I would not be doing things like that now. But then like a few months, 6 months later, I got this friend request accepted, and I was like, who is that? Like I couldn't even remember, and I was just like, oh my God, it's that guy. And finally he asked me out, and then we went on the first date, and we actually went back to the place we met, and then just from there everything just kind of went into place. Like so we spent the first date when I was 19 and I was 26, and then I got engaged when I was 22. So 3 years later we got engaged. We got engaged at my graduation, and then we got married 2 years later. And like I couldn't wait to become a mum. So I was actually like 3 months pregnant at my wedding. So we announced during the speech that I was actually, we're expecting a wee boy. But it's funny because like I couldn't really keep a secret. And I think my hen as well, like people were noticing I wasn't drinking, trying to give me shots and things like that. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend like getting pregnant before your wedding because I actually couldn't fit in my dress either. I had to get my dress completely taken out, thinking I'm not going to put it away at all. So yeah, things just happened like really quickly. And then when you have kids, like life just moves so quickly. Like we had Matthew 2 years later, and then Sophia 3 years later, and then it just goes by so quickly. It just everything, like can't believe it, and it's crazy because like in this house now, this was meant to be like our forever home. I'm still in it right now. Like next year, I'll be in this house the same amount of time without him, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And then I've celebrated a few more birthdays since Alan's died. He died when he was 37 and I was 31. I'm now 33. And I think it'll be the strangest thing when I pass that age because I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this was Alan's age when he died. It was quite difficult when would have been his 40th because he was planning a 40th. He wanted to go on a big holiday with his friends. They were all putting into an account and things like that. So yeah, that was really difficult. So the milestones.
Yeah. Lisa, was it ever discussed why I'm just thinking back to when you met and why he left you as a not friend on Facebook for so long? Why did he keep you hanging, I guess, is what I'm asking.
I'm not sure. I think like I don't really think he ever went into it, but I'm pretty sure if like that happens, they're probably maybe involved with somebody else and then actually like no, I'm actually do. So I think that was maybe the reason. But to be honest, like I was 19 and like I think it wouldn't have been the right time as well. I think you have to have that kind of period of being by yourself and being like single. And I think as well, it's like when I was growing up, it's like I just couldn't wait to like meet somebody and settle down and get married and things like that. So I think being like 6 months later and just kind of like, having that time with your friends to go out and enjoy yourself. Because like once I kind of went out with Alan, that was really me just in like wife mode kind of thing, just like a homemaker type thing. So yeah.
Lessons that you've learned from Alan, Lisa, either, in the time that you were together and married and also, post his passing, what lessons have you learned from him?
Alan, he always lived his life to the full. He did. He always did. He travelled the world. He really had seen most places, to be honest with you. He'd seen loads of places, well, far more than me because he was a bit older than me before when we met. And he really just, he didn't care what people thought of him, which I thought was really good because I really did. I was like, oh, like I want people to like me, like and you could almost like change yourself to kind of fit in almost. Whereas he was very much, if they don't like me, I don't care. And he had like so many friends, so it didn't really matter. They obviously did like him, but he was always really true to himself. So yeah, I feel like I've completely changed as a person, like since he has passed away as well. And I would like to obviously carry some of the things that I've learned from him as well. And I think one of the main things as well is how important friendships are. He would always encourage me to like go out with my friends, do things with my friends, but I was always just at home like with the kids and I missed out a lot of hens and a lot of like, nights out. And I think now it's like I feel terrible that like I probably wasn't the best friend before that he died. Once the kids came along, it really just friendships took a back seat and you almost think when you get married that you maybe don't need as many friends as you thought you did. But then I think like since he died, like my friends, they've all like rallied round and I've been so lucky. I've got friends since I was in nursery, friends at university, and friends now that I've met like later in life at this point, like through the grief as well, which have been absolutely amazing. And I think the main thing I've learned is to really cherish and value those friendships because he definitely did when he was alive and he was always really checking on his friends as well, definitely.
Yep, that makes sense. And we touched on earlier, Lisa, around advice and you spoke, about counselling. What advice would you give to other widows or parents out there that have gone through something similar to yourself?
Any advice? So I think I'm 2.5 years in and I would say that I'm in a much better place than I was at the very start. I think the first year there's just so much going on with your emotions, you're all over the place, there's so much to sort out, all the death admin that comes with it as well, you're on the phone pretty much every day, so it's absolutely draining. And I think the main thing is like just kind of keep some sort of routine and normality. So obviously, if if the only thing you do in a day is taking your kids to school, then that's amazing. I think as well, like I very much didn't ask for help of people. I didn't tell people what I wanted, and I almost like expected them to know how to help me. And then when they didn't, then I would be angry, like, why is no one helping me, kind of thing. Everybody wants to help you, but you need to kind of tell people what you need from them. And like practically, like, because my friends and family, they would have done absolutely anything, but I was very much like, no, 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 like, I'm doing this myself, I'm going on myself. And I think you want to like prove to yourself, no, I can do this, but absolutely just accept the help. But obviously a lot of that is dependent on the children as well, because for example, everybody will offer, I'll take your kids to school for you, I'll take your kids to the clubs, but my kids were terrified of me leaving them because their dad died, so they were worried that like I wouldn't come back as well. So you can imagine how much anxiety they had from that. So I would just kind of like make sure kids are okay, but you need to really make sure that you're okay and you've got a good support network as well around you to kind of get through it, definitely.
It's really great advice. I was going to ask around carrying on his legacy and his memory. How do you, and the family do that? Either, I guess, externally as a whole, but also even you with the kids talking about Alan to them.
So it was quite difficult because everybody in the family, they grieve differently, and especially like his family as well, and some people in my family too, they don't want to talk about him because it's too painful, and they almost like they don't want to, and you wouldn't really force a conversation or trying to like do something when they're not kind of ready for that yet. And some people will never be ready to talk about that because it's too painful. But with the children, I've really kind of just went by what the children kind of want, and especially my eldest son, but there are differences between them. For example, like putting the Christmas tree up, like I've got the same tree and there's some baubles with each of our names on it. In the first year, like I put this little bauble up with Alan, but then my wee boy was like, oh, I don't really want to see that up there, can put it away. So I haven't binned it, but I've kept it. But I kind of think 1 year maybe he will actually want it up there. Um, all the pictures came down in the house as well. Like they didn't want, and I think as well for me, it's like I didn't want them to be having a nice wee day and then looking at a picture and getting upset almost. Like it's really, really difficult. But like I do kind of speak to them like, do you want a wee picture in your room? And I think my youngest son, I think he kind of would like that. So I'll definitely do that for him. But my oldest son isn't ready for that yet. And he might never be, and that's okay. So I don't really do that much. But especially see the first 2 years, I never even told my kids like when it was their dad's birthday, when it was dad's anniversary, when it was Father's Day. And I think like they're aware of these things because like obviously Father's Day it's in the media, shops, everything. So I think like now I'm telling them like, well, this is actually Father's Day. If you want to do anything, like release a wee balloon. So I'm very much like letting them kind of guide me almost and how to help them. But I think kids, they always know so much more than you think. And the times where I have basically brushed past his birthday, they'll maybe say like a week later, like, when's dad's birthday? Like, because they're obviously aware that it's kind of past as well. I haven't actually taken my kids to the graveyard. I've taken my little girl because obviously I was with her all the time and she was a baby, so she's came to the graveyard. And one of her first words was actually daddy, and she can actually point a picture at him and things like that, which is incredible because he died when she was 10 months old. But the boys, they haven't been to see the grave yet. And I think as well, like you see I follow a lot of widows and grieving families on social media, and you see a lot of, like kind of content at graveyards and the kids doing things. So I'm like, oh my God, like should I be doing that as well? But I just think that no, I think I should just really do what they want to do, and I have that conversation with them. And I think one day they'll go, but going to a graveyard is very, very hard. And to be honest with you, I only maybe go twice a year, maybe on his birthday and his anniversary that he died.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And look, and I'm certainly not an experienced widow by any stretch, but I think I guess what we have learned from speaking to different people about their experiences and how they grieve can be very, very different. And even you're living that every day with how you're doing that individually with the kids, and I guess providing to their grief journey and how they're remembering Alan and their dad however they
Yeah.
need to or
Yeah.
are able to. So I think that totally makes sense around, when they're ready, you may take them, you may never, depending on what they need. What about for you personally, Lisa? How do you carry on his legacy and memory for yourself?
The Remembering Them podcast is supported by my legacy message. How do you want to be remembered? My Legacy Message provides a service that delivers a personalized keepsake video to your loved ones, often as a surprise after you pass. My Legacy Message, be remembered.
It's quite difficult as well because I honestly, for about best part of 2 years, I couldn't even say his name. I couldn't even look at a picture. It was honestly just too painful. I deleted my Facebook because seeing the memories popping up on this day 10 years ago, I could not look at that. So I think that even like today, the fact I'm able to say his name, the fact I'm able to kind of, talk about what happened and things like that and hope that it will kind of help others, like feel some sort of comfort they're not alone, and obviously raise awareness for mental health as well, to hopefully this won't happen to anybody else's family, what's happened to mine. I think doing that will kind of hopefully kind of carry on his legacy. And coming on here, like I was really looking forward to it because you really talk about the person that's died in their life before, because with a suicide, they're really remembered for how they died, I think, at times as well, which is so sad because there were so much more than that. And when you see the statistics every year released, I'm sure you have them in Australia as well, you just feel like, oh my God, they're just like a number and it's terrible. It's like somebody's dad, it's somebody's, brother. Like it's awful. So I would definitely like I feel I'm doing a lot better kind of, remembering Alan now, and I raised money for charity. I raised over £11,000 for a suicide charity in April by doing a quilt walk, which was absolutely incredible. And I didn't think anybody would donate. I kind of felt like, oh, people were going to donate more to the kind of physical illnesses rather than mental illnesses, but I had so much support and it was just amazing. So because it's just something it's not really spoken about, you still feel there's a stigma now around it, and I think that's why I was so scared to kind of talk about it before, because you kind of felt judged, you felt like that, but I was like, no, you need to kind of take what's the card's been given to me and almost just own it and like try and like live a happy life. I think that's the main thing as well to carry on Alan's legacy. He would want us to be happy. He wouldn't want us all sitting around crying all the time. He'd want us to try and live life to the absolute full.
Was there a point in time, Lisa, where you realized that you had to switch your attention from the kids to yourself in terms of self-care? Or was there
Yeah.
something that prompted you?
Yes, I lost quite a lot of weight when Alan died. I had a baby, so I was we all a little bit heavier, but I dropped a lot of weight really quickly. And you kind of notice little things like my hair started falling out, and then I had acne, but it was nothing major. But I wasn't keeping well physically. I was constantly the doctors run down and with infections, and I eventually got diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, stage 1. And I had never had any issues in my health before. And I think it was due to me not looking after myself, the shock, the trauma. And ironically, when Alan actually died, I had a kidney infection like then, and it just basically just wouldn't go away. It was just constant, constant, constant. But I'm keeping so much better now. But I think like that was a massive wake-up call that like I need to really look after myself here. And I mean, I've definitely tried, but I think one thing I've not been able to do, I don't have a good sleeping habits. I think a lot of people that have lost somebody, and especially traumatically, they just can't sleep. They either go to sleep early and wake up middle of the night, or I kind of tend to go to bed a bit later, hopefully I get a kind of full night's sleep. So there's still things that I definitely need to work on, but I think exercise and self-care, like taking time and doing like massages, even getting nails done, things like that, just for you, just to kind of fill your cup up again so you can be the kind of best mum that you can be. Like,
Yeah, and great question, Luke. And around, speaking of getting some sleep, we don't want to keep you too late tonight. But before I ask, I do have one final question for you for the main part of the podcast. Before I ask that,
yeah.
I just will say you're doing amazing. Keep doing what you need to for the kids and for yourself. I think the fact that you're on here talking to us about
Yeah.
Alan, and the point I want to, I guess, bring up is you spoke about people remembering him from what happened and him, taking his own life. But I think what we've really enjoyed here today is speaking to, the Alan before, the fun, the prankster, the fun dad, the soccer loving guy. So
Forrest
I think
Gump.
the Forrest Gump Alan, yeah, the party guy. So that I think that's really important. So
Yeah.
thank you, and continue sharing that, Lisa, and continue doing what you're doing. So that's that comment around that. The last question I had for you is often our hardest one for the podcast. So take your time with this one. But if Alan was in front of you today, what would you say to him?
Oh, that is such a hard question. First of all, I'd tell him that I love him, because when he died, you know, I really couldn't remember the last time I told him that because we're just so busy with life, working, kids. And I feel that like we don't tell people that we love them enough and like how amazing they are. I tell them that I was just so proud of him, like how hard he worked to give us a nice life. But I would tell him as well, and like when I seen his coffin, I was able to put a card in. I put a wee card in, just wrote down kind of what I wanted to say to him. I just said to him that I forgive him, and I maybe didn't mean it at the time, but like, and maybe I don't mean it right now still because there's a lot of anger with suicide loss. But like, I really, really want to like work hard to forgive him because otherwise, holding on to like bitterness, anger, is not going to serve me or get me anywhere. So I would tell him that like I forgive him and that I've also wrote down on the card as well that like I'm sorry that I didn't know he was struggling and got help, but just tell him that like how much I love him and how much we'll miss him.
Thank you for answering that difficult question, Lisa, and thank you for being vulnerable today and coming on and sharing stories and memories of Alan. I'm positive that it would have helped someone else out there because and you touched on the grief community, but even the I guess suicide widow
Yeah.
community as a larger scale, and I think what we're finding by talking to people that have lost their spouses, their loved ones via suicide is that community is really important to know that they're not alone. So please keep sharing and talking about your experience because I'm sure it'll help someone else out there, as you would have today for anyone that stumbles across our podcast. So this episode, thank you very much for joining us late in the evening and giving up your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed being your guest. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. So, Luke, that was Lisa all the way from Glasgow in Scotland.
That was great. That was great, Lisa. Great accent. Great story.
Oh, I
Unfortunate
have
story,
to
but
have to comment on the accent before we get into the story. It was it's such a cool accent. I think we've had. I don't know that we've had some. I definitely know we haven't had someone from Glasgow. I don't think we've had someone from Scotland. Maybe early on, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we haven't. So it was great to have someone from Scotland, someone from Glasgow with that beautiful accent. It's so it's funny because we probably have people all over the world. We're really lucky that we've had spoken to people all over the world. They're probably listening to us going, can't understand those bloody Aussie accents, but for us it's
stupid Australian accents.
yeah, it's pretty tough. I had to find myself really focused and to make sure that I was hearing what Lisa was saying. But it's such a cool accent. That's a side. I just wanted to mention that. That was really cool. But yeah, what a tragic story. But as we mentioned in the podcast, I'm sure it'll help somebody out there. Lisa's going through something that nobody should ever have to, and also then now having to raise the three kids. But and we mentioned in the Patreon as well around signs. There was just absolutely nothing, financially, health wise, emotionally, that was obvious as to what led to Alan, taking his own life. So really,
that's what makes it so hard, right? I think there's never any warning signs. There's never any particular one thing that you can pinpoint, because if there was, then
you would help. Yeah, absolutely.
And
Lisa mentioned the abundance of friends that Alan had, that if he picked up the phone as he would, because he preferred making phone calls, or if he sent a text, I'm sure one of those many friends would have been straight there to help him however he needed. So really important around this discussion, that if you are feeling anything and you're needing to speak to someone, whether that if it's not a friend, if it's not a spouse, if it's not a family member, then there's counselors and therapists out there that are available. And speaking of, obviously we have the partnership with BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/remembering them podcast. First 10% off your first month if you do need to speak to a credentialed therapist. So a reminder that we do have that service. We have the My Legacy Message service as well, mylegacymessage.com.au, to leave a video message to your loved one. Often a surprise after you pass. I'm sure that Lisa would love to have some sort of personalized message from Alan, whether that be for herself or the kids. So that is a service that is a supporter of the podcast as well. Reminded to jump on and give us a follow on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, we're on there as well, and share, most importantly as well, share this episode with anyone that you feel may benefit from this discussion and hearing Alan's story by Lisa. I think it's a really important discussion to have. And obviously we touched on as well the Patreon chat that we had with Lisa. We dug a little bit deeper into how, what happened specifically with Alan. So that's available exclusively to our Patreon guests, patreon.com/remembering them podcast. There's also a way to support the podcast, $6 a month US, about $9 a month Australian. I don't know what that converts to in pounds, but you can jump on there and work it out. But it's not a great huge amount, but exclusive access to those exclusive chats that we have to our guests with our guests, and also just a way, as I said, to support the podcast. So we would appreciate you jumping on there as well. I think that's a wrap, Luke. Thank you for joining me for this important discussion. So grateful and honoured to having Lisa on, sharing her story and her experience, and I'm sure that it will help someone else out there. Speaking of someone else out there, Ryan, hope you're enjoying the bird feeding day, and we look forward. He's over in Lisa's part of the world.
Yeah,
allegedly.
I was going to say.
So safe
short drive and say hello. So
safe travel back, Ryan, and we look forward to having you on the next podcast. Looking forward to chatting to you then, Luke, as well. I'm sure you will be around, as always.
And the listeners will be around.
Yes, and most importantly, thank you for the listeners for your support. Please continue listening and sharing. Until next time, speak to you then.
Peace.
Love you. Bye.
See you guys. Bye.
The Remembering Them podcast is created for entertainment purposes. Mark, Ryan, and Luke are not licensed mental health professionals. If you would like to discuss your mental well-being, several resources are available in Australia. Information about these services are available in the podcast notes. Please take the time to contact your loved one today and tell them how much you appreciate and love them.